I am a education major with a concentration in biology, so I'll be a high school biology teacher hopefully in the next half decade or so. I'm hoping. I love to play my clarinet. I love to read and write, and I'm a really big nerd. So anything sci-fi, I love that too. So, yeah.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Nice. What brought you to this project? Like what?
The thing that kind of caught my eye was on the table. And then once I heard about what it was about, I was like, oh, I can really relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've experienced that too. I've been stigmatized as well as a lot of other people. And I was like, I really want to participate because I see so many things on my Facebook glorifying all of this mental illness. I'm like, that shouldn't be glorified. There's nothing great about it. And so that's really what brought me to that project.
Mm-hmm. Can you elaborate on the glorifying thing really quick? I'm just trying to understand.
So, like, on Facebook, there's a lot of things like the boyfriend kissing her scars and how, like, they try to make it seem like it's a beautiful thing. And, like, having scars isn't exactly beautiful, I wouldn't think. I mean, I have scars, but they're not from, like, cutting myself because those have healed since then. But, I mean, I'm just like, those hurt, they itch, they sting. And I'm like, what's so beautiful about it?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what I think about that.
So, how has mental illness affected your life?
Oh gosh, how has it not affected my life? So my mental illness is depression and anxiety, and I also have anger issues, and that is stemmed from various physical medical problems that I have, such as kidney disease, and I have scoliosis, gout. Pretty much I have a host of medical issues, and it really, all of the trauma that came from that really made me anxious all the time to go to the doctor, and I don't like social situations, and it's really difficult for me to talk to people sometimes because I'll randomly be really upset, and they're like, well, why are you upset? You need to snap out of it. I'm like, it doesn't work that way because I'm not medicated. I mean, not right now. I might be in the future, but we don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
And it really makes it difficult for me to talk to people because they just don't understand. And it really makes it kind of, a lot of people are like, oh, are you sure you can do this? Are you sure you can go out somewhere? I'm like, I can try. But it makes it kind of like, oh, you don't want me around? Do you, like, what do you think about this? And they don't understand, and that's hard to explain. So that really has impacted me.
So a lot of times we hear about mental illness like from a medical standpoint, and you kind of touched on this, but what does your mental illness feel like?
Oh gosh, it feels like a really big loneliness feeling. Like I feel like I'm completely alone. It feels really dark, almost like you're in a room and it's completely black, but you only have like one little tiny light in the corner. And each time you get closer to it, it just keeps getting farther and farther away. And so it makes you feel even more and more hopeless. Like, am I really able to get this? Can I really get to that light in the corner of the room? And a lot of times the answer is no. Like, no, I can't do this. I can't fix it. And it makes you feel like everything that you're doing, you're like, well, what's the point? What is the point of me doing all of this stuff? Like, I have my doctors having me do all of this stuff, but I look at them like, why? Why should I do this? Like, it's not making me feel better. I still feel horrible all the time. I still always feel sick. I feel like anxious all the time. I feel this really big tightness in my chest, and I'm just like, why should I do this? Like, it's not helping. So, yeah.
So, is there anybody in your life that, like, supported you through this? Or, I mean...
Yeah, I've had a couple of people. My mom and my dad have really pushed me into counseling. Like, at first my mom was a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for?
Wary?
Yeah, she was really wary of it because at first me talking to my mom seemed to be enough. But then it's like, well, that's not enough anymore. And I kept feeling this way, and my mom didn't understand why. And my dad, who has PTSD, he's like, you really should go into counseling. I think it'll help. And so he really kind of supported me into going into counseling. You know, my mom's supporting me. They're always checking up, going, hey, have you gone to your counseling appointment this week? Have you made the counseling appointment for next week? And so they're really supporting me in that. And my boyfriend's supporting me too. He, at first, was one of those people who's like, oh, you need to snap out of it. But once he realized it doesn't work that way, he's like, how can I help you?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what can I do to make you feel better? Is there anything I can do? And there was a time earlier this year where I was on the edge of just ending it. I was thinking about overdosing on my medication or not taking it at all, because both have repercussions, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. And I went to his house and I cried and I cried and I cried, and he just sat there and he listened and he said, it's okay, I'm glad you didn't do that. You know, if he's like, call me anytime you feel like you want to do that, just call me. I don't care if I have to work 2 hours later, because he gets up early in the morning. He's like, I don't care, call me. And I will talk you through it. I will tell you how much I love you. I will drive to your house or your school just to hug you. And I mean, that's really helped a lot.
Because you said at first he was kind of like, oh, why don't you just snap out of it? Like, was there a turning point for that you maybe something happened, or you kind of tried to explain it to him? Like,
so because of my medical issues, he thought it was just because of that.
mm-hmm.
And so he thought, oh, you know, maybe if she just, you know, takes some pain pills, it'll go away, type of a thing. And I started explaining it to him, and he started kind of researching on it, and he was looking into it. And I mean, the thing that really stuck it to him was when I was crying at his house,
Mm-hmm.
telling him what I almost did, and he's just like, oh my God, this is a real thing. Like, you actually do feel this way. You actually, you know, I wasn't listening to you, type of a thing. Because I was like, I tried to explain this to you, and you weren't listening. And he's just like, I'm so sorry, you know. He felt like it was all of his fault because he didn't do enough. And I'm like, no, it's not you. But I really do need you to support me. And that's when he realized, oh, snapping out of it isn't going to work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's nothing, he can't protect me from it, which is really what hurt him the most, because he's all about protecting me. And he's like, I can't help you.
Mm-hmm.
And so that kind of was the turning point for him, was when I was crying. And he realized, oh, I probably should do more.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people, they feel really sorry for me because of my medical issues that I've gone through, and like, it's not your fault, like,
Mm-hmm.
it's no one's fault. I just kind of rolled the dice and it happened, and I'm just like, I'm working through it. You know, we all have our problems, and the best thing you can do is be there. And they're always there. They're just like, hey, how are you? Are you having a good day? And we always celebrate those good days. Like yesterday at Wizard Roll was, besides a couple of kinks, was a pretty good day. I mean, I had a depressive episode and an anxiety attack and a couple of dizzy spells, but other than that, it was a really good day. And I mean, we always celebrate those little victories, and my friends always are like, hey, you had a good day today. And they always try to make sure that I have those good days, and if I have a bad day, then they try to make it a little bit less bad. So, yeah.
Those are some good friends.
Yeah, I agree. I have some pretty good friends.
Your anxiety and depression affects your relationships with others. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah. It's really difficult for me to, like, if there's someone new, it's difficult for me to talk to them, because my biggest fear is, oh, what if they find out about everything? Like, what if they find out? When I was little, it was hard for me to make friends because I was bullied just for being short, because I was always small, as you can tell. I'm pretty short. But, I mean, a lot of people bullied me for that, and I was afraid, well, what if they found out about what's inside and what's medically wrong with me? You know, what would they think? And that was always a big fear of mine, and it still is. Like, when I first got my job, I was like, should I even talk about it? Should I tell them? Should I not tell them? Well, what if something happens? And so I told one person, and she's like, you know, thank you for telling me. We'll, you know, keep this under wraps. No one else will know. And, I mean, I've become more and more open to it just because I feel like education is really important for people to know. what it's like, and they should know, hey, this is what I live with, this is how I'm dealing with it, and maybe it'll help you too. But I still have those moments where it's like, oh God, what if they find out?
Mm-hmm.
Like yesterday, I was like, I don't want to have an anxiety attack meeting John Barrowman, or having a depressive episode while meeting him, and stuff like that. And so I was really kind of like, oh, that kind of freaks me out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are some of the reactions that you've gotten? Like, what are some of the reactions that you've gotten?
From the mental illnesses or the physical ones, or both?
Whatever you want to talk about.
So for the physical ones, a lot of people, I always get the, oh my God, you look so normal one, because I do look pretty normal with my medical issue. You tend to be very frail, and I'm not, and so I get a lot of shock from that. I also get a lot of, how do you do it? And my answer is always, I have no idea, because I don't know. And from the mental stuff, I always get, oh wow, I didn't realize that can happen. Like, I didn't realize, I thought it was just a chemical imbalance in the brain. I'm like, well, yeah, that tends to be what it is, but it could also be from traumatic experiences. And then once they ask me, well, what kind of things have you gone through? And I just kind of touch on a few things and like, oh my God, why would they do that to you as a small child? And I'm like, well, they had to do what they had to do, and I couldn't be sedated for it, type of a thing, because I had procedures. I didn't know I could be sedated for them. My mom didn't know, and I ended up being awake for them, and they scarred me for life. And I'm still working on that. And a lot of people are actually more accepting than I thought they would be.
Mm-hmm.
I do have some people going, oh, you're just faking it. But I don't get that a lot anymore. I get a lot more acceptance and, we're here for you. So.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do to like cope other than, talking to your boyfriend or your friends? Like, what do you do?
I write a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently writing actually a memoir, bibliography type of a thing. With all of my medical issues, because my overarching medical condition is actually very rare.
Mm-hmm.
And up until the late 1990s, I have Otterbacterial syndrome. And up until the late 1990s, like, the birth rate was small, 1 in every 10,000 children, but less than half of them would live to be 1 year old. And so now with all of the medical technology advances and everything else, there's all of these parents having these children, and the doctors have no idea what to do. They're like, I've never seen you before, I don't know what to do, and the parents are like, I don't know what to do. And so I'm writing a book and kind of like, hey, this is what I went through. I know your kid won't have exactly what I have, but this is kind of what you can expect. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of a coping mechanism for me. I also read a lot. I like to distract myself, and I draw. I go for walks. Do a lot of deep breathing. My dad taught me this thing called belly breathing, where you kind of do the hand on the chest and the stomach, and you check to see where you're breathing, and then you make a conscious effort to try to switch it to breathing through into your belly. And so I found that that's actually helped a lot too.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever have like a turning point in your life? Or like, for me, I kind of had to hit rock bottom to kind of build myself back up. Did you ever have anything like that?
I did. In 8th grade, I was 13 years old, 13, 14 years old, around there. I quite literally hit rock bottom. I had the most medical issues I had ever seen and dealt with at one point in time. I was in pain all the time, and because I went through hormone therapy as a child, I was also going through crazy emotional stuff as it was, and my doctor refused to put me on birth control for my period, so my period was horrible, and so I was literally like done. I was so done with everything. I was done being in pain, I was done being upset, I was done freaking out every day, and I was starting scratching my wrists with tacks, and it got to the point where I would almost start bleeding. And my friends saw a couple of them at school, and they were like, you need to get help. You need to see a counselor. You need to, like, deal with this. And I was crying about 3 times a week, and I completely hit rock bottom, and I wanted to end it. And I was just like, I can't do it. I can't end it. I have entirely way too much I want to do. And so I kind of built myself back up from there, and I promised myself I would never go back there again, but I did when I wanted to end it all again over New Year's this year, and I was like, I can't do it. I'm not going to do it. I never want to do it again, and I know I'm probably going to say that 3 or 4 times, but, it's kind of what happens, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my moment.
Mm-hmm. What do you want other people to know about your mental illness?
That it's not, quite honestly, it's not as, how do I want to put this? It's not as rare as a lot of people think. It's very diverse. I mean, your reason is different than my reason for having it. And a lot of people need to realize that you can't snap out of it. It's something that you have to work at every single day. And that a lot of people also need to know it's okay to not be okay. It's okay. You don't need to be, yeah, I'm happy every single day. No. You're crazy if you're happy every single day, in my opinion. But I mean, it's okay to get help. It's okay to talk to people. It's okay to be like, hey, I have this problem and I want to fix it. Because, yeah, our goal is to be happy, but you can't be happy all the time. And especially if you have these mental illnesses, you really need to figure it out. And it can take years to figure it out. I'm still figuring myself out. And I mean, it's a learning experience for everyone. And a lot of people need to realize that it's okay. If you have it, you shouldn't hide it, because the more you hide it, the worse it's going to be. And a lot of kids in my school that committed suicide didn't get help. And honestly, if you don't get help, then you're going to probably end up on that wall with your name, with the year you lived to the year you died, because you didn't get help. And people were like, no, you don't need help, it's fine. It's just a phase. It's like, no, it's not a phase. And so I think a lot of people need to realize that.
Mm-hmm. What advice would you give to someone who is struggling with a mental illness?
Something I would tell them that, I'm there for them and that I care. And I won't say, oh yeah, I totally understand, because I wouldn't understand. Just because you have the same mental illness does not mean you completely understand what they're going through, because you don't know. You know what, but you don't know why. And quite honestly, you need to get to the why before you know how to fix it. And a lot of people who have helped me are like, why do you feel this way? And I mean, I would really encourage them to talk to someone. If you need to go on medication and that's what you need to do, then do it. I mean, if it helps you, then it helps you. Sometimes tools don't work. Sometimes you physically need something to take every day to fix it, and that's fine. And I would tell them, I'm here for you. If you need someone to talk to, let me know. That's the kind of person I am. So that's what I would say.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people are really weary of counselors because they either feel it makes them look weak or something like that. What would you say to them?
That is not at all what it is. Mm-hmm. I mean, I see 2 different counselors right now. I have my main counselor, and then I have a counselor here on campus who I see. And they are probably the best things to ever happen to me, mm-hmm. because I don't look weak. And they tell you that. They're like, it's okay. You're not weak. You're done. And that's fine. And a lot of people reach their breaking point, and they will help you figure out how to make things better. They will help give you tools, and they will pretty much be like, okay, if it's too much for them, they'll be like, okay, I think you need to see a psychologist or a psychiatrist, or like right now, my counselor is like, okay, your tools aren't working, talk to your doctor about medication and see what your options are, and they leave it up to you. They do. It's about you. They want to help you, and they're not there just to make bank. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Medication's often very scary for people.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Well, coming from someone who's been taking medication since he was 8 years old, I understand. I was the kid who thought medication was, oh, you take it for 10 days and then you're better. And then my mom would find my little pill bottle half full 6 months later, and she's like, no, you need to take this, you're not. And I'm just like, but I'm better. And she's like, no, you're not better. You need to keep taking this for you to be better. And it wasn't until my mom ratted me out to my doctor where they're like, no, you need to take this for you to be better. Without it, you'll just get worse. And I think it kind of carries over with mental illness medications that, yeah, it takes some tweaking, but if you are like, yeah, I feel great, I'm going to get off my medication, don't do it. It's a trap, as I say. It's a trap. And my boyfriend was like, oh, it'll make you feel numb. I'm like, well, that's when you talk to your doctor and you get it fixed so you don't feel numb. And we're working on it together. Because I asked him, what would you think if I went on medication? And he said his thing, and I was like, well, would you rather me be numb for a few days and then be better? Or would you rather me be completely not in control? And so I feel like that's kind of the choice that you have to make if you want to go on medication. So, because I was kind of weary of medication. I've never liked taking medication. And so, but now I'm just kind of like, well, I probably should. Because my dad takes medication for his depression and anxiety and PTSD, and he's just like, honestly, you should probably take it because I'm at that point right now where I can't really be in control. And I'm not myself. My dad's like, you're not yourself anymore. I'm not, because I used to be always that positive, optimistic person, but ever since everything hit, I'm not myself. And so that's partially why I've been considering medication myself.
Yeah. Obviously medication's never, I don't think it should be the first step anyone takes, and obviously it's not.
Yeah.
For you. But it shouldn't be like that ominous, like, oh, if I take medication I'm weak or something. Like that's
not
obviously
at all.
not.
It's not. I mean, it just means that you need a little bit of oomph, as I put it, because that's what I call my medications and my vitamins. I call them my oomph pills, because they kind of make everything a little bit less. So, I mean, yeah, you have to figure out side effects and stuff like that, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you wish all people knew about depression and anxiety? Like what society, like everyone knew, like what would make it better if everyone just knew this?
I feel like they would know. I feel like everyone should know that it's not exactly how it's stigmatized. I mean, that's as best as I can put it. A lot of people stigmatize it as, oh, you're sad all the time. Oh, you wear black. Oh, you're goth. Oh, you're this. Oh, you're that. And I'm like, no, we look just like you. Like, we look totally normal. I mean, and no, we're not weak. No, we're not alone. Yeah, we feel that way, but that's because, honestly, people have kind of pushed it that way. And we're scared to talk about it half the time because we're afraid of what people will say. And I wish everyone would just be more accepting and kind of just be like, yes, this exists. It exists. It's not, don't push it under the rug. Because I've had plenty of my friends who have talked to their parents and they tried slipping it under the rug. And I'm like, why'd they do that? And it's because they're afraid to face it, and they're just like, oh, you just want attention. It's like, no. I mean, I've been suffering with this ever since I was 12 years old, and I didn't get help until I was 17. It's that bad. And I mean, it's one thing if you're a teenager and you're going through a lot of emotional stuff, which is why I waited so long, because they said, you know, maybe it's just emotional roller coaster that your body has to go through with puberty. But once I hit 16 and I was still feeling this way, I was like, no, this isn't just normal puberty stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's what everyone should realize, is that it does exist. No, we shouldn't just automatically assume that teenagers have depression just because they're sad all the time, because everyone has a phase of sadness all the time in puberty. But if your child is exhibiting those signs for more than a certain amount of time, then get them help.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can really say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What stigmas have you faced personally, just mental illness wise? Because I know you have a lot of other things as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of complicated. It's okay.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, a lot of, I've been told that I'm faking a lot. I've been told, oh, it's just a phase. I've been stigmatized as weak. Like, you can't do that. You're not strong enough mentally to do that. It costed me leadership positions because my teacher didn't think I could be able to do it mentally or physically. And I feel like that was the biggest stigmatization, was you're weak. You're not able to deal with this. And because a lot of people are just like, oh, there were a lot of kids in my school who were like, oh, I have depression, and then people are like, oh, pity party. But the minute the girl who's in so many leadership positions, you know, looks happy all the time, you know, does all of this stuff, says, hey, I have these issues, they're just like, oh, no, you don't. And I'm like, how do you know? Well, you're happy all the time. I'm like, at school, I put on a face. I mean, for crying out loud, I'm in theater, I know how to act. Mm-hmm. And that was the biggest thing for me. So.
Mm-hmm. So when your teacher said that, like, oh, you can't do this because of your mental illness, like, how did that make you feel?
I was crushed because I was just kind of like, I'm passionate about this. Mm-hmm. I mean, for crying out loud, the drum major who she picked actually has panic. She has panic attacks. Mm-hmm. If she gets too anxious, she'll have panic attacks. And I'm just like, you picked her, but not me. Like, really? Because I was just kind of like, her and I were pretty much equal to each other. And when she said that, I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, I can do this. If I'm focused, I'm fine. Like, that's kind of why my counselor tells me keep busy, because it distracts me. And I'm just like, I can do this. If I'm busy, if I'm focused, I'm good. But obviously, she didn't think so. Mm-hmm. I mean, looking back, I'm like, whatever. Like, I don't care. I was a section leader for an amazing clarinet section, and that makes me happy. So, yeah, I was like, whatever. At least I got on leadership team at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually, like, when you start taking those distractions away, people don't realize that you're taking away the good things. Do you want to address that at all?
I do. There's a reason why I keep busy all the time, and there's a reason why I love taking so many classes at school, or I love doing extracurriculars or whatever. I'm always trying to do something, and my friends are like, why are you always busy? Don't you ever relax? I'm like, relaxing is the worst thing I can do. Unless if I'm relaxing and watching a movie or watching my favorite show, you know, then I'm fine because I'm still doing something technically. Mm-hmm. But as soon as I lay down and there's complete silence, I just totally break down into darkness and sadness and horribleness, and I can't do it. I'm like, no, I don't want that. Then it allows my brain to wander. It allows my brain to ask questions, and I don't want to ask those questions because then I have to answer them, and then I run around like a little dog chasing its tail. Mm-hmm. And then I end up crying and I'm a really big mess. And so those distractions really keep me focused and they keep me from doing that day in and day out.
Yeah.
So.
It's really hard never to be able to relax.
Mhm.
Just keeps you wound up.
Mhm. Because even when you're relaxing, you're not relaxing at all.
Yeah.
So.
What's the difference between like sadness and depression?
Sadness and depression. Well, sadness tends to go away.
Mm-hmm.
Sadness tends to be like focused at one thing. Like, oh, I'm sad, that character died on the TV show. Oh no. And then you're sad for a few minutes. But it can go away, like really easily. You just think about something else or you go on with your day type of a thing. But depression, the sadness type of a thing, doesn't go away. And it's not even really a sadness, it's more like numb. You feel numb all the time. It's hard for you to feel emotions. It's hard for you to feel happy. Like with sadness, you can feel happy afterwards. It takes one good thing and then you're happy. But with depression, it takes a lot more than one thing to get you out of it. It's like a really big abyss, void type of a thing, and you're walking on a tightrope in the middle of it, trying not to fall in. And then once you're in, good luck getting out.
What if maybe depression isn't as much feeling numb, but it's feeling too much? What do you think about that?
I think that is a strong possibility, because a lot of times you have all of these feelings inside you, but you can't express them.
Mm-hmm.
You can't find the words for them. And so that numb feeling could be all of those thoughts, and you're just trying to dull it down into a box, but the box, it won't fit in the box. And so you can't make it go away. And you're just like, what am I feeling? Because like you said, am I feeling too much?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what am I feeling? I could feel happy, sad, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't pinpoint it to one thing. I'm feeling this way. Because you really can't. You're just like, I don't know. I'm feeling I'm feeling like 10 things at once. And this thing is going this way, then it's going this way. Yeah. Type of a thing. At least that's how it is for me. And then you just kind of break down and you're just like, I don't know anymore.
Yeah, I think a big part of it, like you said, is you can't express it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's nearly impossible to, because you're feeling all of these things, but at the same time you're feeling nothing at all.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to add or you want to talk about that we didn't cover?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of things to mental illness that a lot of people don't understand. I mean, like, my biggest deal is that education is very important, which is why I've become more and more open to talking about it. Because for me, talking about it also serves as a coping mechanism, because if I can talk about it, then it makes me kind of feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, like with my professors, I had a professor last term, and I needed to talk to him. And I usually talk about, hey, these are my issues, this is what I need from you. But he wouldn't let me get the whole this is what I have thing out. And so I was like, why? Why won't you let me talk to you? He's like, I don't want to know, I don't need to know type of thing. I'm like, yes, you do. You need to know. It's good for you to know. And I feel like a lot of people, once they hear a story, then they're like, wow. It's like a mind-blown moment of them. And they're just like, wow, I didn't know that existed. I didn't know you had that, because we look so normal. They can go through day to day happy. I have days where I'm happy all day long. Nothing can break me, totally great. And then the next morning I wake up and I'm just like, no, totally the opposite. Like abyss type of a thing all over again. Or like I'll have a nightmare and it totally ruins everything. And you get stuck for weeks and weeks and weeks. And the smallest thing can trigger it. The littlest thing. And you hate it and you're just like, I don't want to deal with this. And a lot of people need to realize that we didn't want this to happen to us, and they should be less like, oh, you wanted it to happen. It's like, no, I didn't. I didn't want all of this stuff to happen to me. I didn't want my brain to do this to me. It plays games with me all the time. I don't like it. You don't like it. Let's figure it out. So, yeah, that's pretty much my biggest thing.
Yeah. Is there one like big thing that maybe you've learned through this experience?
Specifically what experience?
Just through dealing with your mental illness, dealing with your physical ailments and different things. Like, is there one thing that maybe common theme, common thread through all?
The biggest thing that I learned is that it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to, like I said, it's okay to not be okay. Because for the longest time, my family was very, like, strong. Like, you need to be strong all the time. And I'm always told, oh, you're so strong for dealing with that. And I'm like, that's the physical part. That's not you. I was like, that's right now. That's not like 5 minutes from now. I mean, you don't know what's inside. The biggest thing that I learned is it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay to be totally like, own it type of a thing. Because the more you own it, the more people will be understanding and the less people will think, oh, you're faking, or oh, you're weak, oh, you shouldn't do this. Are you sure you can do it? And then they become unsure of you, and then you're unsure of yourself, and it's like, why? I should be so confident in myself and be happy with who I am, flaws and all, and just kind of deal with it, which is what I've been doing ever since I was little. So that's kind of the biggest thing I've learned, is to talk about it and to be okay with not being okay.